Why have you written this letter?
Well, I think it's important to set out the problems with the customs union, which seems to be at the heart of the negotiations with the Labour Party. I mean, I think it's really important that we're trying to find common ground with other organisations, other parties within Parliament, but this would not be the way forward.
I mean, the problem is, what you're saying is that if we come out of the European Union, we won't have influence over the customs union policy, which is true. But it could actually still be in the economic interest of this country to be in a customs union, even although we've decided that we don't want to play a direct role in that.
Well, it might be in the economic interest of the country to have an agreement with the EU, but based on terms which would give us an ability to influence how that worked. I mean, to be part of a customs union, we know, would mean that we would lose our seat at the table.
Well, yeah, but that's what we voted for, you see.
No, what we voted for is to take back control, and I think that one of the strongest...
We voted to leave the European Union.
One of the strongest arguments against a customs union and being a member of it is that we effectively lose control of our international trade policy. But my point is, if you leave the customs union, and I know that's what Mrs May said she'd do in the past, the reality is you're going to lose a trading advantage which we currently have with a great many other countries. Well, what we set out in the withdrawal agreement, and the reason why I supported the withdrawal agreement and the political statement that goes alongside that, is that we would have had a managed exit from the EU, which would have set a framework for negotiating those trade deals in the future. And in the absence of agreeing that, I don't think the solution is to say, well, we're actually going to lose our seat at the table and also lose any ability to be able to negotiate our trade deals in the future.
This is not very helpful to Mrs May. Is it?
I think it's very helpful to set out where members of Parliament are, and particularly those that have got experience of being in government.
Yeah, but I mean, it's pulling the rug out from under her when she's trying to do a deal with Jeremy Corbyn.
No, I think it's setting out the importance of the Prime Minister understanding members of Parliament's views. And I've absolutely supported the Prime Minister at every stage of the process, because I believe it's really important to try and get an agreement in place. But if Parliament will not agree, the only agreement that's on the table from the EU, then the answer is not to renege on the referendum.
So you're saying a compromise on the customs union between Mr Corbyn and Mrs May can't get through Parliament, is that what
I think it's very clear that it wouldn't get through Parliament. So what I would like the Prime Minister to do is to really, I think, set it on the table for one last time for parliamentarians. The EU have been crystal clear there is only one agreement, or one withdrawal agreement on the table. If Parliament will not agree to that, then I think Parliament has to accept no deal.
So you want it put on the table, or no deal, is what you're saying. If this can't get through Parliament, no deal.
Well, that is literally the option before us.
But, I mean, that's not going to do anything for employment or jobs in this country, is it?
It's with a heavy heart, and that's why
no deal's going to be damaging, isn't it?
It's with a very heavy heart that I would support no deal, and have indeed supported no deal as one of the options.
So why do you support damaging the economy of this country?
Well, what we have to do is make sure that we deliver on the referendum result, and I don't think that...
So that's more important than, growth or the daily prosperity of people.
What is most important is we deliver on the referendum result, and I don't agree with you that it would be overwhelmingly damaging to the economy. I mean,
or a no-deal Brexit. You don't agree. You think all those government reports were just a waste of time.
All of the evidence points towards the fact that we should be supporting the withdrawal agreements on the table, and that's what I will continue to support the Prime Minister to do, is to put that back on the table and to make sure that parliamentarians take that really seriously.
But the other option is to say to people, OK, we think we've reached the point where we're effectively going to leave without a deal, but let's really be sure that we want to do this, and to have a second referendum. Why not do that?
Well, we've already had a people's vote, and that gave us a clear outcome. And, we could continue to have elections. You don't get any evidence
that people are changing their mind?
We could continue to have elections till kingdom come. We have to try and deal with...
Well, yeah, you're a politician. I mean, you thrive by elections, don't you?
We have to deal with the situation as it is. And we've got an agreement that the EU is willing to take forward, and we should be willing to take that forward as well, so that we could then start to negotiate the sort of deal which would protect our economy in the future.
But half the people on this list aren't willing to take it forward because they don't back the deal because of the Irish backstop, which brings us back to the customs union.
Well, I think that's why you can see that this way forward, the customs union as a way forward, is simply not tenable.
Yeah, but the customs union is a way of getting around the Irish backstop problem.
But it's a fudge, because ultimately, as we move forward, there would need to be a longer-term solution to this. This would only ever be an interim position.
But what I'm saying is you're supporting this deal, but a lot of the names on the list are not supporting this deal.
But I think what that says to you, Adam, is that the customs union is something which actually drives a wedge down the heart of the Conservative Party and is not the way forward.
So the conclusion of this is these senior right honourable members of the Conservative Party simply don't have an answer to this situation. You don't like the Prime Minister's answer. You accept that there could be some bad economic consequences for leaving without a deal, but you're prepared to do that. I mean, that's the conclusion.
I think there is a very clear answer, which is if we go forward with a further vote in the House of Commons around with the withdrawal agreement, with the political agreement alongside that, and Parliament were to accept it, indeed, as they should have on the 29th of March.
They rejected it 3 times.
We would have left the EU. I think what's changed is local election results, very shortly the European election results, which shows very clearly to politicians like me that people want to see us out of the EU.
So you're saying bring this back after the European elections?
I personally think the Prime Minister should bring back the withdrawal agreement as soon as possible, so that Parliament can have one last chance to make a decision. And if it doesn't make a decision on that, then I think, frankly, we've decided to leave without a deal.
And when is as soon as possible? Because there's going to be a short recess for the elections.
Really, literally as soon as...
So next week?
Yes.
Before the vote, if
yes,
possible?
Yes, indeed.
OK, Maria Miller, thank you very much indeed.